Welcome back. Welcome back. It's me and Chance here doing the 2K. Gfinity just ended, Chance. It was Epsilon able to beat Strictly Business, so you were correct.
Yay!
Is that a shock to you?
Between the two, if I had to root for them, I would just go with SB just because, one, the owners of that team are really cool, or at least I thought so.
Yeah.
And then two, they're American. But again, Epsilon, they did need like something to take away from any tournament, and losing in like your home field advantage would be just absolutely terrible. So yeah, congratulations to them.
The teams that qualified for bracket play are Optic Nation, Epsilon, Denial, TCM, Envy and ON, and then Prophecy and Aware. So SB and TK, the only two North American teams that didn't qualify for bracket play. And then they haven't announced how that bracket play works. I imagine it's like 1 seeds play 2 seeds. So hold on, I'm gonna make an executive decision here, Chance. I'm gonna get a piece of paper. We're gonna just talk about hypotheticals, what could happen. Well, you guys are seeing nothing because I'm not there. A lot back. So you have, Optic Gaming is a 1 seed. Epsilon is a 2. You have TCM, they are a 2. Denial is a 1. You have Envy as a 1. ON as a 2. And then you got Prop as a 1. And Aware as a 2. So those are your 8 teams left. If you're a number 1 seed, which is the team you don't want to play in that first round? I think that might be TCM.
I don't know. I haven't watched it all. I'd be very curious as to seeing how TCM has like been doing. Like, do you know about that?
They've been doing well.
Like a before and after.
They didn't look good against Denial. They've looked pretty good against everybody else.
I'd say that's reasonable because again, they didn't even qualify for like the Sunday side of things at COD Champs. But then, yeah, because I'm just curious, like after moving to America and practicing against like the top teams, how will you do? So I mean, not doing well against Denial. Denial's like scary good at the game, so I wouldn't like take that to heart. So I don't know. I probably agree with you that TCM would probably be a scary team nowadays.
I mean, out of Epsilon, TCM, ON, and Aware, I think TCM has the best chance of beating one of the OG Denial, Envies, or Profs.
Yeah, like, I mean, before COD Champs, I would have thrown Epsilon into that group. But yeah, no, I'd have to agree. They're not going to have a chance of doing that, I don't think. I don't think Epsilon's going to be a strong enough team. So yeah, you might be completely right. TCM might be the go-to. And then even after they pick up Mad Cat, that might make things even more interesting for them.
Oh yeah, I think when they come back to the States and they have Mad Cat, I think they'll go on a run that they'll qualify for X Games. Very interesting to see how Gfinity will pan out tomorrow. What that bracket will kind of spit out, those 1s and 2s. I imagine a team like OG can't play a team that they played in bracket play, like pool play. I imagine they can't match up against Epsilon first round, so they would either get TCM, ON, or Aware. I mean, if they did, 1s versus 4s, so you would get OG versus, let's say just hypothetically, they did this. This would give you, okay, so that would give you OG Aware. This is just hypotheticals if they went by, pool A versus pool D. So it would be OG versus Aware. You would have Denial versus ON, Envy versus Epsilon, and Prof versus TCM. Could you see any upsets in that?
I'm calling Optic Nation to beat Denial. All right, because I know that seems like the word, like the last thing that could possibly happen. So I just want to call that in case I'm right. I feel like Optic Nation can take the 2 searches. They're going to get just completely destroyed in the hard point. So maybe one of the maps is going to go in their favor for like the CTF. Like maybe they pull out a CTF Biolab. So I'm going to say this with no rational basis. Other than that, I think it would be funny.
I think ON could give a team like Envy some trouble. Although Envy has been playing absolutely lights out this weekend. I do think ON, I think Aware, I mean, all those teams are pretty good for those number 2s looking at it now. Epsilon is scary. An Epsilon Prof match would be awesome. You get the 2 guys on TR from both respective sides going at each other after just teaming with each other last week. I think that would be a pretty epic story.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna like try and force myself to tune in tomorrow morning just to watch Prophecy play, because that's probably the most interesting thing going on the entire tournament, I would imagine. Although TCM, their storyline is also pretty cool too. But yeah, I definitely want to see how those Prop guys do. That could, like, in theory, that could be a team that ends up like taking the win in Gfinity, or even after they have more practice, they could be a force.
I said that on the bracket show. If Aches didn't suck, I thought that team could really, and they gelled quick, that team could be a contender at this event. I think if they qualify for X Games, they can be a real threat to anybody to win. I think that's a very talented roster, just a matter if it forms. ISO up 3-0 this far here against this Rise squad in S&D. They're just joining us. Rise won their first map pretty handily. Saints with 45 kills. Sensor with a pretty good game, but it's ISO coming out here winning the first 3 rounds of this S&D Solar.
Silly. So on the hard point, did the best on his team. I mean, he finished at 36 and 36, which isn't like that great of numbers,
Right.
but still did
like
the best on his
caps.
team. And he did it on like a 2 or 3 bar the entire time. Like, he was kind of struggling. Again, don't want to make excuses with connection, but he definitely had the worst connection in the lobby. Still did pretty well, and now he's come out very, very hot in the search and destroy as well. So I went from never hearing him, and I'm already a fan of how good he is.
Yeah, and you see 3 dead for Rise Nation. It's going to be Saints' last one alive. All 4 members converging around him. Doesn't really have much of a chance here. It's going to be Rise, most likely down 4-0. It's going to be so difficult for them to come back from this chance after a very dominant first map. To come out and kind of get blown out this bad second map. It's kind of shocking.
I do believe that iSolation has pretty much been winning the 2Ks and 5Ks because of their search game, though. I think normally they're a pretty good hardpoint team. Obviously, they started off really slow in the past one, but I think they win like 90% of their search and destroy maps. Saints actually going to be able to make a 2-piece and make this interesting. Havoc was also on a 3 streak, and Silly was on a 6, so he's going to stop both of them. Going to almost win another gunfight, ended up getting the headshot hit marker, so he is finally going to get shut down. But maybe Saints help shut down some momentum from ISO, which could help him in later rounds. But yeah, 4-0 comeback would be pretty ridiculous.
It would be pretty epic if they can make a 4-0 comeback. Saints the only one doing much of anything for Rise. Sitting at 4-4, the rest of his teammates all respectively 1-4. So gonna need somebody to step it up, at least, you know, make themselves known a little bit. I mean, 1-4 from all their players, just not a good performance.
No, not at all. We are going to get a chance to see what they're going to do on defense and see if they can come up with anything different to try to slow the guys from isolation down. And ISO, again, they don't have to do too much crazy stuff with 4 lead. They just have to play it normal, and they should be able to at least take 2 of the next 8 rounds that could possibly be going down, or 8, whatever it is, 6. However many rounds it is, but isolation.
You're just throwing out numbers, Chance. I have no
with
idea.
your bomb down over by the B bomb site. Dito's gonna enter with the 2-piece, and yeah, that pretty much is gonna be the nail in the coffin, so to speak. You can't. Every single time they've like gotten first blooded, and they can't do anything. So Saints again in a 1v4. He did pick up.
The guys on ISO are clearly walling. They know exactly where these Rise players are every time. I'm throwing this one out the window. It's gonna be ISO going up 5-0. They're gonna probably win this map. Kind of shocking though from both of us. I mean, ISO a very good S&D team, but come on, Chance. If you're Rise, no Sense or Chino or Theory, you got to do better than 1 kill each.
I mean, yeah, they're just completely getting steamrolled. And you actually might be correct about the wall hacking or whatever it is, because Saints gamertag right now is, or not gamertag, his clan tag is hacked. So he might have had the same sort of experience after playing the hardpoint, where like these guys are clearly cheating, and I'm just better.
Gfinity, I think I actually nailed how the bracket was gonna span out. It'll be Epsilon versus Prophecy. It'll be Denial versus ON. So I had both of those. I bet you the next tweet will be OG Aware and NVTCM.
I could also see Epsilon taking Prophecy, and I know I'm following that up right after I say Prophecy could win the whole thing. But to me, by the way, ISO just 6-0'd them. But anyway, back to more important things with Gfinity. Prophecy, I think, could win the entire tournament and could be a relatively dominant team. Or not dominant, but definitely a team that could beat every other team available. It could be a force to be reckoned with,
so let's make this bracket a little bit. I imagine OG Aware's at the top. And then ISO wins at 6-0. We'll just talk a little bit about Gfinity before we go to commercial. I believe OG versus Aware would be at the top, and then I believe after that would be Group B, if I'm not mistaken. I can bring it up. Say it's a Group B. You would have Denial versus ON. That would be on the bottom, all the way in the bottom. Who do you like in Denial versus ON? You really think ON's gonna win?
No, I don't. It's like 98% sure Denial's gonna win. Like Denial, they slowed down in the league after they won COD champs, but back on lands, I think they've done a pretty good job of bringing it back. So not quite to like their peak form, but still definitely good enough to be able to take out Optic Nation.
Yeah, and then I think you will probably see Prof versus Epsilon over on the OG side of the bracket.
I can see that going either way. I really could. Again, Propsy, great team, but I think Epsilon might be able to, because like Nagafen and Aqua, not good hardpoint players, are not the best, and I'm pretty sure that's Epsilon's strong suit actually. The S&Ds could kind of go either way, but probably going to give the edge to Propsy. The uplink I'm going to give to Propsy as well. So yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be at least interesting though.
I think your final four is going to be really boring. I think it'll be Denial beating ON. It'll be Envy beating TCM, which will set up Envy versus Denial. This is how the bracket works, which I was pretty spot on with groups, so we'll see this. OG versus Aware at the top. I think OG wins that, and then Prof versus Epsilon. I think Prof wins that, and then that would be your final four. I don't know who wins those matchups. I think they could all be pretty close. But guys, we're gonna go to a quick commercial break. Then we're gonna have game number 3 between ISO and Rise. Stay tuned.